How can the Oklahoma Sooners fix that offense?
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So in this current era of NIL, the transfer portal, a lot of players are making early decisions on what they're going to do for this season. You saw several players, Bear Alexander from USC, one of them, that opted to redshirt the rest of the season after just 4 games because of playing time, because of who knows what else. The Sluka situation at UNLV is a very unique one. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's going to be the case for everyone, but his was definitely an NIL related situation and issue, and UNLV just said, all right, peace, get out of here. And they've been doing just fine without him. So a really a poor calculation or miscalculation on him and his circle's part on that one. But the question was brought up because of all of these early redshirt decisions that have been made. It has Jackson Arnold. Has there been any discussion about redshirting Jackson Arnold? And Brent Venables was open about it. And he said, let me see if I can find the quote over here at the Oklahoman. I think I just passed it. He said, it's been discussed between us. What was told to Jackson, we put you in is because we need you to help us go win. We're not sitting here with our head in the sand or naive. He's practiced extremely well the last couple of weeks. I feel like it's only right to give Mike the opportunity to be the quarterback. I'm certainly not immune to anything. I know Steve Spurrier did for and this is on the possibility of playing 2 quarterbacks. I'm certainly not immune to anything. I know Steve Spurrier did it for his whole career. That being said, it'd be great if you had one you could get behind and do the things that were necessary in order to win. Certainly not put it out of the realm of possibility in the future. So on Jackson Arnold redshirt, Brent Venables even went on to say Jackson wants to be the starting quarterback at the University of Oklahoma. I think it speaks to the competitiveness of the player, but man, yeah, if there's still a chance that he could play at Oklahoma. I mean, Michael Hawkins, he has been solid at times, but he hasn't done enough, I think, to just really distinguish himself as, hey, I am the starter. This is my team for now, for 2025, for 2026, for 2027, however long he wants to be at Oklahoma. It very well could be. I mean, he could go out and have a great performance against South Carolina that really starts to change the narrative and the perspective of where Oklahoma's quarterback situation is going for this year and for next and the year beyond. At the same time, I mean, this whole opting out after 4 games situation, if you're a quarterback, I don't think that screams leader to many college football programs out there. Is it possible that he redshirts this year? Yeah, I think it's certainly possible. You know, if they continue to go with Michael Hawkins the rest of the way, Jackson would end up earning his red shirt. At the same time, if they feel like they need to go back to him, I mean, the coaching staff just has to go back to him, and he has to be ready and he has to be prepared. And I don't think that Jackson or Arnold would sit there and sulk and be like, oh, I'm just not going to play. That just doesn't seem like the kind of guy that he is, the kind of player and teammate that he is. And so any possibility or any thought, and I don't even think that that'd be something that would happen at Oklahoma, just because of who Brent Venables is and his coaching staff and what they kind of require and demand. And it's team first. And if you're not team first, you're not going to really be a part of the team. And they usually weed those guys out pretty early on. That's why you might see a guy transfer after, just one season with Oklahoma, because they figure out they're not a culture fit and are quote unquote processed, or the player decides, hey, this isn't a really good fit for me. And so, yeah, I fully expect Arnold to be ready to go in the event that he's needed to go. On the idea of a 2 quarterback system, I'm not typically a fan of the 2 quarterback situation, just because the old adage, you got 2 quarterbacks, you got no quarterbacks. And it's usually pretty true. If you're not certain about who's going to be able to be productive for you, then you've got to, and the offense isn't sure who's going to be coming in from drive to drive. It does change the dynamic of an offense when you have to go back and forth between a quarterback, from a cadence standpoint to a communication standpoint. All of that kind of stuff matters, but I think you kind of have to keep it in the back of your mind, maybe not playing 2 quarterbacks, but giving Arnold an opportunity. if things don't find more production at some point. Like if we don't find a more productive offense moving forward over the final 6 games, or things are just stagnant, or Hawkins just isn't throwing the football or whatever, then you have to think, okay, has Jackson Arnold had a chance to reset? Have we gotten to a point where we can go back to him and give him an opportunity to show improved decision-making and ball security? Because that's really what it came down to. And less so about, just ball security, but just the decision-making. The decision-making was really what got him benched, because it was reckless. It was reckless decision-making, not just, hey, he made the wrong read. It was, I threw a ball that wasn't supposed to be thrown to a receiver where it wasn't supposed to go because it wasn't part of the offense. And, it all kind of snowballed for him in that Tennessee game. Get an opportunity to reset, sit down for a few games, get your mind clear, and go just play football. Perhaps he comes back and he's a little bit different a player the next time he's on the field. We'll see if he even gets an opportunity to be on the field this season, because they want to give Michael Hawkins every opportunity to assert himself as the starting quarterback at this point. They want to give him, as Brent Venables called it, a full body of work. They want him to put enough on film, enough on tape to allow them to make an objective decision based on what they can evaluate on tape. Practice gives you one thing, games give you another thing, and they don't feel like they've got enough tape on Michael Hawkins just yet to be able to make any kind of decision about who the quarterback should be. They want Michael Hawkins right now to continue to play, and they believe he's earned the opportunity to go continue to play football for the Sooners. So listen, I'm fine with that. I don't think you're a playoff contender this year anyway. I don't think you're going to be an SEC title contender, obviously. Now you got 2 losses in the SEC and you've got a tough road ahead. So figure out your quarterback situation. That is priority number 1 for this season going into 2025, is having a good, clear picture of what you can rely on at quarterback as you go through the rest of this year and then get ready for 2025. Because if neither guy gives you an answer this year on who the quarterback is, then you're either going into the offseason in a quarterback competition, or you're potentially looking for a transfer portal quarterback. And either way, that doesn't really set you up for a smooth offseason. You've got a lot of questions. You got to answer them in the next 6 games. And that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Sooners. Thanks so much for tuning in, being a part of the show. Subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and YouTube. So hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports, myself at John9Williams. The show on all social media platforms is Locked On Sooners. So make sure you go follow us over there. Also, go check out the Locked On College Football channel, where you can get great insight into every weekend's action with Spencer McLaughlin of Locked On College Football. Also, go check out Locked On SEC. Great show with Chris Gordy. The Thunder are getting going again. Check out the phenomenal Rylan Stiles at Locked On Thunder. A lot of great shows here on the Locked On Podcast Network for you to peruse. But again, make sure that Locked On Sooners is your first listen every single day. Again, shout out to all the everydayers out there. But until next time, I'm John Williams. Boomer Sooner.